Much better. Okay.
Hi, Derryn, do you know your...
Oh. Yeah, the sting, $1 million. And the second sting... Mark, second sting, I can't see you. Second sting is a phone number. It's okay, we can do it. Second sting is a phone number. So we'll do a sting on $1 million. Then I'll come back and Larissa, just whatever calls come up or whatever issue, either one is fine, okay?
It's 15 at Gladstone Park, 14 at Moorabbin, in the city 16 degrees. Tony Tardio, Melbourne's own 3AW.
This is Drive with Derryn Hinch.
That's life. That's what all the people say. You're riding high in April, shot down in May.
Good afternoon. Well, never a dull moment. Yesterday it was the High Court, and then early this morning off to the Austin Hospital to see Professor Paul Gow, one of my liver doctors, to find out if the good guys are winning since I started chemotherapy for liver cancer last month. As I told him when I walked in, I said, well, from the High Court yesterday to the real High Court today. And the verdict here actually was a split decision, the way I think that the Canberra decision in the High Court will actually go. Now, some good news and some bad news. The bad news is I've been told it is a very bad cancer that I have. The good news is the chemotherapy beads have killed off some of the cancerous growths and some of those satellites around the mothership, as I think I called them. The bad news is it didn't kill them all, and I will have some more chemotherapy very soon. And the worst news is that they have now totally ruled out any idea of what they call a resection operation. That's where they would remove 40% of my cancerous liver and rely on the rest of it to keep me functioning while it regenerates. I'm told that's no longer an option. So that means a liver transplant is now my only hope of long-term survival. So I asked my doctor quite bluntly today. I said to him, well, without treatment, without a transplant, how long have I got? And he said 12 months. So I checked, and next year isn't a leap year, so that means 365 days. Now, I'm not on a transplant waiting list. It's not that simple, and it's not that easy. It is not a right. Going back to the High Court, it's not a right, it's a privilege. But I am now officially on the pre-liver transplant assessment timetable. And that involves myriad tests, and I had more blood taken today than I would usually give as a blood donor. It means things like bone density tests, a colonoscopy, in fact actually cameras up and down both ends, heart, lung, kidney tests, plus psychological tests for me and for my family. And then if you do qualify for the list, there are issues over blood types and liver size and tissue matches and things like that. And some cancerous livers cannot be replaced because of the risk of the new one being invaded. And I understand that would be a waste when it could go, a transplant liver could go to a more worthy recipient. And you're always conscious of the fact that for you to get lucky, somebody else has to be unlucky. And some donor's family will be grief-stricken. You can't and you shouldn't forget that. So now anyway, you know, as I promised, you know about as much about this as I do. It is going to be a very interesting year with, I hope, some favourable High Court news around March or April. And I'll be hoping for some good medical news, I guess, around the same time, or at least in the next 12 months. But until then, as far as I'm concerned, it is business as usual, except when I have to be off air for all those tests and treatments I mentioned, and some of those will be coming up in the next couple of weeks. Anyway, to end on a bright note, always good to end on a bright note, things like this. I've got a cheerio call to a man called John Pollock. And I met John Pollock today for the first time, only minutes after getting that bad news, getting the 12-month deadline. And I was very pleased to see him because John Pollock told me he had a liver transplant 10 days ago. And he's looking $1 million.